First up, tell me about your company and what you do.
My name is Amy Shah. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Peekapak, and we are a blended learning platform to help teach skills like empathy, self-regulation, and teamwork to young children through digital games, stories, and lesson plans for students, teachers, and parents.
So for a lot of people, the idea of a blended learning platform maybe is new terminology to them. Can you dive a little bit further into what exactly that means?
Yeah, when you think about education, we traditionally have teachers teaching lessons, but now with technology, we can personalize learning. So each student can get their own level that's appropriate for them in terms of like reading or writing activities. And so by having the combination of both oral instruction or lesson plans in class and then also digital activities, we can fine-tune that learning and give a variety of options to help best be appropriate for each learner.
When we think about learning and preparing this next generation for the future, we talk a lot about some of those harder skills like coding. One of the skills you mentioned is teaching kids how to learn about empathy. Why is that type of skill important?
If you think about the future of work in 20 years, 30 years from now, most of the jobs currently today are going to be changing. And so these skills, being collaboration or empathy and working together, are going to be super important to be able to be adaptable, to figure out, what is that next job. And without these skills, those hard skills are going to change. And if you're not, you don't have the soft skills, you're not going to be able to be successful in your career, but also in your life.
So when you're talking about educating the next generation and giving them the skills that they need, what about two topics that we talk a lot about today, one being diversity, one being inclusion? How do you roll that into what you're teaching them?
Oh, it's crucial in what we do. So we have the power of using literacy and our own narratives. And one of the big things that we wanted to do is really actually make it a new norm. So for us, we have a fictional world where it is gender parity, there's diverse characters, and it's a norm that young girls are into engineering and technology and computers and electrical engineering. And so all of a sudden, it's really possible for a young girl as young as kindergarten to say, yeah, I can be an engineer, I can be an architect, and that could be, as a role model for the future.
We're talking about any type of learning or curriculum. There's always resistance to that. People don't necessarily like change, whether it's teachers or parents. What type of resistance have you faced?
It's hard, especially I think, education is not it's not a small business. It's, they're often bigger institutions, and so they do want to see validation. So having research is really important, in which we've, invested a lot of time in, making sure that you work with teachers to feel part of that process. But it is challenging because it is a big system and it takes time to change a big system. But I do think that working in partnership with all the key stakeholders has made us successful, having district-wide or school-wide implementations.
What have you seen so far in terms of a measure of your success?
So we've been able to reach over 200,000 educators and students in 90 countries, be able to see the impact of our program to help improve learning these different skills. And we've just be able to see students enjoy and love the learning. When they come in and whenever I go to a classroom, I'll ask the first question, who's your favorite character? What do you love about the program? Every hand is up. And, seeing these little girls, like I mentioned earlier, they say, hey, I want to be like Lucia. I want to be an electrical engineer. And they're only 5 years old. That's really inspiring that, the power of literacy and the power of our program is making an impact at such a young age.
So we're talking about moving the dial, and you are moving the dial for the next generation of kids. Who moved the dial for you?
My mom, for sure. She, is such an amazing woman. She had her own clinic in India, served the poor, but also the whole community. Then ended up moving to Canada with nothing, starting her own business. Now a successful, florist, serving her community, and continues to be an inspiration about, kind of constantly relearning and growing and building things to have impact in our community. So it's just been a constant source of inspiration.